Paco goes Party, Duz goes Dusty, Jai goes Judd, and the Dons take the wins against the Eagles. This is the Sash, definitely not the official podcast of the Essendon Football Club. I'm your host, Rob, here with you for the Monday review show, and I'm very happy to be joined by James. Hello, mate.
Hey, Rob. Good to be in the studio. Another win, tick the box. We were just sort of talking off air. It wasn't the most convincing win, and we were probably hoping for that big 10-goal win that we've sort of kept talking about, but it hasn't quite come. But yeah, 4 points in the bank, and yeah, we keep rolling.
Jesse, hello, mate.
Choo choo. Do you hear that? Oh, that's the first stop of 5 and Zip coming up. Get on the train, Sash faithful. We're heading to 5 and Zip Town.
I was wondering how far we're going to get in before you mentioned that. Not far. Was
Straight away. Straight away. Other boys, wasn't the 10 goals that I'd predicted, but good to actually beat them by more than
10
5 points. Single digits for once.
I was messaging Mert pre-game, and he goes, "What's your thoughts?" And I was like, I think leading the game, their average losing margin at Marvel was like 60 points or something. It was pretty high. And I said, without Kelly and Reid, we'll win, but in typical Essendon fashion, we'll make it difficult. And I predicted it being under 10 points eventually. Like I know in the preview, I think I said 37 or 73. It was one of the two.
Yeah, that's right.
It was 3 to 7. That was my call. But yeah, I don't know. Like I know there are some people who think they suck, but I don't know if they're that bad, particularly when some of those older established heads are back, and there's a few blokes who we play into form. I mean, Jamie Cripps becomes like vintage Andrew Embley when we play them for some reason. I don't know how that happens every single time. But look, we take the win. Definitely plenty of things to work on, and I think I said in my post-match reaction that there was a lot of times during that game where I just sat there and went, I felt like we got away with something there that you might not have gotten away with in a bigger game. But look, the points are what matters, and we bank the points. We roll on to next week. What was your sort of initial thoughts, James?
Yeah, it was a pretty ugly game. I mean, I don't think the margin reflected, I guess, our performance. I was sort of surprised at the end of the game that we'd won by 30 points, and if you didn't watch the game, you probably thought it was relatively easy, but I certainly didn't feel like that watching it. I thought they took it up to us. I think we found a different way to win, which is a positive. If you want to look at it that way, you could look at it as a negative in the sense that our sort of plan A didn't work against a side that's not great, and we're playing at home. But we found a different way to win. We went to uncontested ball, took a lot of uncontested marks. Our back line collectively had a lot of possessions. We kicked 19 goals, 11 came from half-back transition. So it's a different way to win as opposed to what I guess that Essendon edge style of footy has been, where we kick goals from contests and stoppages. So I like that we showed we can play a different style, and I think Scott spoke about that in his post-game press conference as well. So yeah, I think nice to see that we've got, some different styles as opposed to what's been working for us for the majority of the first half of the season. So yeah, it was interesting, but yeah, I thought without Reid, without Kelly, a real opportunity to bash them up in the midfield, and we lost the clearances. So that was disappointing, but yeah, I liked that we found another way to win.
Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, on that point, I feel that people forget that the midfield that we had in there was still really young. I mean, for most of the centre bouncers, it was Draper, who is less than 100 games, Durham, less than 100 games, Perkins, less than 100 games, and Caldwell, less than 100 games. And yeah, we did get beaten in clearance, and it was very fucking frustrating to see Liam Ryan, who's never played in the midfield, have 3 centre clearances.
He was awesome, by the way.
He was really good.
He looked really good. I was like, geez, what's Flying Ryan's contract situation? I'd love him at the Dons.
Yeah, he was really good, which was frustrating. But, nonetheless, led by Elliot Yeo, who's just an absolute superstar. Like he had 20 touches, but it seemed like he had 40, and he made all of our midfielders work super hard. Obviously, props to Calders for nullifying him to only 20, but, he still had I think 6 clearances or something, maybe 7 clearances. I think he had the most clearances for the game, Elliot Yeo, out of any player in the ground. Look, obviously, as per my introduction, absolutely stoked with the fact that we got the win. Yes. It's always good beating the Eagles, particularly because my fiance goes for them. So that was good, but I'm just not sure about Archie Perkins at the moment. And he is in no man's land at the moment, having little to no impact playing through the midfield. He only had 16 touches, I think, over the weekend. And I mean, when you've got someone like Will Setterfield in the twos, whether or not he was managed, I believe he played 4 minutes in the VFL. And I just see him as a much, we got beaten in contested ball against not many midfielders that were big in size either. I mean, Gimby's a man giant. He's like almost a bigger version than Durham now. Like they're very similar types, country boys that just go hard at it. And he was really good as well, Gimby and Yo. But I just think that if we're getting beaten in the contested ball against a side like West Coast, and we were sort of very close against Carlton, almost went even in contested footy. We haven't really blown many teams off the park with that contested ball, and I would say I'd prefer to see Setterfield play in the middle and be that midfield rotation than Perkins at the moment. I just don't know if he's giving us what we need. I'd really like to see, and believe it or not, Perkins play on the wing.
Shut up.
I'm not joking. He's a great kick of the football. He's an elite runner. And we keep trying all of these players on the wing. Yeah, Harry Jones was pretty serviceable, but he only had 14 touches playing on the wing. Yeah, he was a good outlet mark, but I just think you want someone with good vision and ability to kick the ball inside forward 50, which is exactly what Perkins can do. Why don't we just give him some time playing on the wing, stop trying him in the midfield? It's clearly not working at the moment. And, give someone like Setters a go. Let's just get that grunt work going in the midfield. Yeah, some would say he had an all right game against Carlton the previous week, but that's one game amongst a number of outliers that haven't been good. So, yeah, I think that's probably the one thing that I wanted to put on the agenda for
tonight. Yeah, tonight. I mean, we can talk about it now. Obviously, there's plenty of goods to get to, but maybe let's talk about this. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I read a few comments of people post game who sort of flagged Perk as someone they weren't happy with the performance, and you sort of look at him and then you look at guys like Durham and Caldwell, and like Durham and Caldwell are very much just like contest after contest after contest after contest, where Perkins is almost like a bit of a moments player, where like when he does have it, I feel like a lot goes on, but it's just like
he just
you said,
doesn't get it enough.
But then doesn't get it enough, and like interestingly, like I'll refer back to the comment he said to me end of last season when I interviewed him. He said one of the things I've had to work on was like what he's doing when we don't have the ball and when he doesn't have the ball, because sometimes he kind of gets lost in traffic. Round 1 against Hawthorn, I was like, oh, he's fixed it already. Clearly not. Like he was at the third most centre bounces of the side, so he was definitely there at the coalface, ready to run with the ball. How many
clearances did he have?
3, I think.
It's not many.
Yeah, which isn't everything, but
he just doesn't pick the ball up off the ground though, and that's the thing that if you're an inside midfielder, you have to bury your nose into the turf. And I understand that, you've got to be select. You can't all just jump in, but you have to have that tenacity to throw your head over the ball. And I've seen too many times throughout his career thus far that he just doesn't really bury his nose into the turf like a Durham, a Merritt, a Parrish, like these inside mids do. And that's why I'm just not sure whether it's his actual right position on the ground.
Yeah, that's the thing. I guess that's what they're trying to figure out, because like I don't mind him at half forward, because I feel like when he does have it, he does generally make an impact. But I see what you mean. Like even just like when they selected the side, I was a bit like, I don't really... Like it seemed a bit lopsided at time. Like it felt a bit too tall. Like having both Jones and Cox running on wings, like I feel like one of them you can kind of do it, but both of them felt a bit strange. And yeah, like I was surprised to see Setterfield out, assuming there wasn't like any fitness issues.
It was omitted. So.
Yeah, well, that's it. He was listed as was omitted, which I was surprised by. But look, our best player below his knees isn't playing right now, which is Darcy Parish. I think he's absolutely the best player when the ball's on the deck. He's best at grabbing it and hand passing it to someone else. That's his, his one wood, if you want to use that term. But Yeah, I guess I think no man's land is kind of fair with Archie Perkins, where it's like, what are you? Are you a half forward? Are you a midfielder? Are you somewhere in between that? Like, because there are guys who play half forward and they look really natural there. Like Gresham looks really natural in that position, whereas Perkins at time, like I know he's very young still, but you just kind of go, where does this go? And we always assumed that midfield was the direction he was going to go long term, but obviously Durham and Caldwell have gone past him now in that role. Is Ben Hobbs going to be the next guy to do that, or is it going to be Sardis one day who goes into there? And is this just going to be his position? Like, you think about
just put him on that wing. Just
put him on that wing.
Out there on that wing.
I don't think he's suited to being on the wing personally.
Why?
I don't know if he has the tank for it, to be honest. I think
if he can run through the midfield, he's surely got the tank to be on the wing.
But I think he spends a lot of time on the bench, to be honest, though, when he's played.
He does spend time on the bench.
He reminds me a little bit of Cam Rayner, where I think a lot of people always assume Cam Rayner was going to become just a full out and out mid, but he's just in that half forward mid role where you'll have games where he looks unbelievable and then just vanishes.
But he also has come regularly in the top 5 of our 2K time trials. So I would say that
he's got a bit of a tank, yeah.
Based on that, I don't know. Obviously, there's a reason the coaches aren't playing him on the wing, but if there's a line for that, there's about 17 other players that I'd probably put on the wing as well. So.
We've tried just about all of them.
Yeah, unfortunately,
must be Perkos.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Laverty's 28 disposals. Come on now, you could have seen him on the wing.
We know, Jesse. Unfortunately, the 666 exists. If we were allowed to put 18 players on a wing, I'm sure you'd do that.
How do you park the bus but put them on the wing?
Yeah, at the same time, I'm not sure. How do you feel about Perkins?
Yeah, I mean, I had him listed in my bads. Maybe that's a little bit harsh, but knowing that there was no Parish, Setterfield, and Hobbs, it was almost a given that Perkins was going to spend a lot of time in the midfield. But yeah, he seemed lost. I think that's probably the best way to put it. He had 22 centre bounces. He didn't lay a tackle, and he had 16 disposals.
No tackles kills. That really kills.
So my thought with our midfielders is if you're not impacting with the ball, your pressure action, your tackles need to be high. And he had neither. He didn't have a stack of the footy, which, Perkins isn't a 25, 30 possession player anyway, but 16 is well below for a guy that played full-time midfield. So I was disappointed he didn't take his opportunity because we've seen, reference that Hawthorn game early in the year where he was best on ground. He can play that role, but whether there's a bit of an attitude issue, I'm not sure because zero tackles with 22 centre bounce attendances, almost if you'd fall into a couple of tackles at some point. He still had some brilliant moments, right? And you speak about him being that player that adds X factor. Everyone always refers to Silrioli, 10 possessions, but he could be best on ground. Perkins has that ability and, he shrugged those couple of tackles, took a bounce down the wing. He also sort of goose-stepped 2 blokes at one point and they sort of completely lost him. So he's still got those moments of brilliance, which everyone loves, but he probably just hasn't been able to take that next step, and maybe we're being a little bit ambitious given what Dawes and Caldwell have done. We sort of expect Perko to be at that level as well. So now he's sort of lagging behind a little bit. Maybe we're being harsh, but I was a bit disappointed he didn't take his opportunity because I like him in the midfield.
Yeah, I like him in general. Like I think there's a lot of talent there, and there's a reason he was a high draft pick, and I think we've identified that. But yeah, the tackles is what sticks out for me because I think you can have low possession numbers playing the midfield, but you can still make an impact otherwise. But yeah, 0 tackles when you're spending that much time around the ball, and there was plenty of stoppages in that game. Like it wasn't like a full bog, nor was it like super free flowing, but there was enough stoppages to lay it. But yeah, not laying one. Yeah, not great.
It was lackadaisical. Like that's the word that I would use to describe that game. And I feel like that's his issue is that he appears quite lackadaisical sometimes in the way that he presents himself with his attitude. It's, I'd drop him on that performance. Like I'd be that harsh to drop him and bring Setterfield in for the following week. Like it's pretty poor, like as a young player to have no tackles when the entire system that we've tried building is on buying into the defensive acts and putting the team first. And you look at someone like Caldwell, he had 26 disposals, and he had the most pressure acts on the ground with 37 pressure acts. I mean,
Yeah.
you compare that, he's playing in the same position to Perkins, it's pretty stark.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's sort of what I'm saying is, like I said, you got those guys who can just hit contest after contest after contest and are just constantly making an impact, even if it's just, a little tap of the ball through to like full winning it. Just didn't seem like he was doing that at all.
And we know Setterfield's capabilities in the contest and his tackling pressure, and I would be very intrigued if we could rewind the clock back and put Setterfield in full-time position where Perkins was playing that day and just see the difference in what our contest work looked like.
Yeah.
In our contested possession numbers, in our clearance. I just think that he's filling a hole. He fills a hole better than Perkins does at the moment, because if we have 3 players that are completely bought into the defensive side of the game, and clearly Caldwell and Durham are great with their disposal, Setterfield lacks a little bit with his creativity and his ability to kick inside forward 50, but that's a wall, and that's a big set of boys that I would say is quite commanding to get through.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what kind of role he gets told you get in the midfield. Are you the guy who's allowed to sort of run off? But you'd think every single person who's sitting there at a stoppage, whether it be a centre bounce around the ground, is like accountable to someone generally. Like, Paco will take a man but win it at the same time, and often goes against their best midfielders. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I guess with Setterfield, like, he can be very one-paced, which sometimes can really stand out, particularly when you've got those explosive minutes. Like, did he play in the Port Adelaide game at the start of the year?
He did.
Coming
back off injury.
Yeah, I know he was coming off an injury, but he looked nowhere near it in that game, I remember. And I guess that can be the knock. And look, if they are worried about this knee problem, even though he was listed as omitted, that could still sort of weigh into that whole sort of thing. But
and there could be fitness clouds that there.
Yeah.
I mean, I had no doubt when you have a layoff over, more than 3 or 4 weeks, it's pretty hard to just step back in and have that same level of fitness. So I'm sure there's something to that as well.
Yeah. Oh, well, look, interesting way to start the show off, putting old Perk on the agenda. I mean, do you guys want to stay on the bads, or do you want to go back to goods, or how do you feel?
Goods. Let's go goods.
Let's go to goods. Let's go to goods.
Xavier Dersma.
Yeah, the X.
God, he was good.
Yeah, he's mean, isn't he?
He's hot.
Yeah.
Like, that goal was so hot. Like, there was fire, like, coming out of my fucking chair. I was...
Okay, I was wondering where that was going.
I was about to get to butthole eating phase, like what that guy talks about, but I thought I would. I thought I'd not, but geez, he was good. Defensively and attackingly, so good.
Yeah, started really slow. Like, he had one touch in the first quarter, and I remember sitting there at quarter time. Like, I turned to one of the boys I was sitting with. I'm like, has Dersma touched the footy so far? And there was like one touch, but then he had 9 in the second and really just kind of got clicked into the game, which was good because, when you have a bit of a layoff, you can take a bit of time. But yeah, just so good seeing him there, so good seeing him get back when we need him, and then obviously getting forward as well. And although like we'll talk about it a little bit later, although I actually didn't mind the Harrison Jones wing experiment, like you do need to have someone who can kind of hold up the other side of the field pretty well. And we're just such a better team when he's playing. So love seeing him back.
Yeah, he's so important for our structure, and maybe it took him to be out of the side for Essendon fans to realise how important he is, and that was certainly probably the case for myself as well. His defensive efforts are what stand out to me. He seems to always be in the right spot, long kick down the line, and he's covering, helping out our defensive tools. Took a couple of contested marks behind the ball, which were really impressive. I watched the game on TV, but previously I've thought that his footy IQ is really high. He clearly knows that wing position inside and out. His running patterns are A1, playing on a wing as well, and clearly we don't have anyone else who knows that role as well as he does. So, really impressive game again from Ders, and it was really nice to see him get on the end of one as well because he's working bloody hard the other way. It's always nice to see the bow and arrow come out.
Yeah, and he shot it pretty quick as well. Like it was like right off the boot, and then he did the arrow. I was like, oh shit! But then obviously you see the cheer squad going up, and I'm like, okay, it's going through. So, pretty stoked on Zav. We may as well just talk about the man of the moment, to be honest, because as I've written right here, Sammy fucking Durham, the Does. geez, good. And
He's so good.
it was like it feels like it was like 2 weeks ago that I can't know who it was. It was one of you guys or someone else, but someone said on the pod, he's been that 20 or 25 touches player. Soon you want him to see him go be a 25 to 30 touches player, and it's been a fortnight, 3 weeks or something since whoever said that. And here he is, just felt like he was involved in everything. Awesome to see him get on the end of the chain and get his goal for the game as well. But God, I'm lost for words, to be honest. Like, we said at the start of the year, if Essendon's going to become a good side, someone else has to grow to get to like close to the level that Zach Merritt plays at. And he's the one who's climbing up the rungs from being a C grader to a B grader and, working his way into the A grade of the competition. Because, if we're doing Robbo's top 50, maybe Sam Durham's going to be there at the end of the year. So I think he's special, and stay fit, please. Stay very fit.
Please,
that's what we need.
Please, by God. And he's added to the hot club. He definitely is. Because,
we do like the hot club.
Yeah, he's in there now because I've had my fiance on 3 different occasions like, oh, who's that? I'm like, that's Duz. I've told you this before.
Yeah.
He's hot.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, he's really hot. I'm like, good. Now watch him play football and see
Yeah.
how hot he really is.
Yeah, no,
It is an absolute pleasure to watch that bloke play footy. Like, he's your old school footballer,
Big
just
time.
hard nosed. But I may have got ahead of myself the other week when I said he doesn't have a downside to his game, but I truly feel that. Marking overhead, contested footy. When he's out in space, he's got class and poise and balance. He kicked that goal on the run towards the end of the game. And, I'll say it again, his ceiling is so high, it's scary. It's nice to have a player like that. I feel like it's been a long time.
Yeah. Are we at the point where, like, do you think, Chris Scott or Craig McRae or Simon Goodwin, or someone in their coaching panel is actually, rather than going, all right, Zach Merritt, that's it, do you think his name's actually going to be starting to be written on some opposition chalkboards, being like, we've got to do something about him? Because he's been doing a job for us generally, whether it's going to Bontempelli or someone else. Like, is he at that point where the opposition are actually going to start looking at him, or is he still a long way to go?
It's just hard to tag because he's such a explosive player. He's like a Dangerfield. Like, Dangerfield's such a hard player to tag for that exact reason. And I would say, I don't see there being any circumstance whereby Zerrett just doesn't get tagged. He's too elite. Like, I don't think there will be ever a situation where he's in the team and in his prime right now where he's not getting tagged. But yeah, I mean, in future, you could definitely see someone running with Duz because his impact is hectic.
Yeah. I mean, well, I certainly valued as the best, at least the best short kick in the competition is Zach Merritt, and you can't have him out in space. Like, yeah, I mean, he was obviously awesome as well. Some of his kicks inside 50
good.
were just sublime. But yeah, Sam Durham,
That clearance in that third quarter where I think they'd kicked 3 goals in a row and we needed a response. And it's where he got the ball and he had Gimby all over him, and then he had Marich or that other player all over him, and he was just tapping it in front of him, tapping it in front of him, slapped in front of another player, then collected the ball, got tackled, gave
Knew he
it
was
over
going to
to
get
Jake.
crunched. Yeah.
Jake then kicked it to Langford. Langford dropped it.
And then
Guelph kicked the
got it,
goal.
yeah.
And that was like huge for the momentum of the game.
Yeah.
And there was a number of occasions, like in the last quarter, he had 10 touches, the most touches on the ground in the last quarter. Like, he completely willed himself to having us win that game. And it's not the first time that he's done that. And there are a lot of people now, like critics and the media, talking about him and his impact. And, all things considered, touching wood, if his body can hold up, I would say he's just going to go from strength to strength and get more consistency in having that impact. And by God, I'm going to be a happy man when I say it.
Yeah. And his partner in crime, Mr. Jai Caldwell,
The quiet achiever.
He's
like,
is he Robin?
He's Robin.
He's
definitely Robin.
He's definitely Robin.
He looks like Robin as well.
Yeah, he is Robin.
He's got that like little flick of the hair like Robin usually has.
Yeah.
He's
But
definitely Robin.
God, remember when we got him over from the Giants, and I think it was Phil Davis, how he spoke about it. He's like, oh, Jai Caldwell's the kind of guy you want to captain your club one day. Like, captain for 10. He said some comment like that. And I was like, oh, yeah.
God, what is he talking about?
Oh, God, here we go.
Yeah.
And then, like, you just relentless, like, does not give up at any point.
Yeah.
He's just looks gassed at the end of it. He had a bloody massive cut down his face. It was a bit Joel Selwood-esque towards the end there, and good with the footy. Got a goal as well. Great little celebration, and I think I've got a bit of a man crush on Jai, to be honest.
Yeah, I reckon I do too.
I've had a man crush on Robin for years.
Yeah.
Oh no, Batman.
Just gonna be jellyfish, Batman.
Yeah.
Just a complete game. Like 27 disposals, 11 tackles, 32 pressure acts, 6 clearances, and 1 goal. He continues on his wonderful season, consistent performance, week in, week out. I'd love to get a snapshot of what our best and fairest looks like as we sit here and speak about it, because I'd be very surprised if he wasn't top 3.
I think it's Merritt, Durham, Caldwell, 1, 2, 3, surely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Caldwell was potentially higher, just knowing that best and fairest are often rated a little bit more around what the player does in terms of their role and what they're doing off the ball and what the coaches notice. I actually had him best on ground.
Interesting.
A lot of people had Duz, and probably rightfully so. I was interested to see in the coaches' votes. I thought he'd be a bit higher.
Yeah.
I think Caldwell had 3.
So
that's why I don't think he's going to be up there in the best and fairest, because Brad never gives him coaches' votes.
Yeah, but as we know, the Crichton voting system is more complex than the US election system. There's gerrymandering, there's all the other stuff that goes on there. Very confusing. But anyway, coaches' votes: Durham 10, Stringer 6, Merritt 4, Caldwell 3, Barras 3, Liam Ryan 2, Jamie Cripps 2, which I think pretty fair spread of players. Easily the best Eagles listed there, and easily probably our 4 best players listed there.
It's just exciting. I mean, you can hang your hat on at this point in time again, health considered, that someone like Durham and Caldwell should play over 200 games. Like they're showing at the moment.
It'd be nice.
200 game midfielders for the team. The
thing I like about what Caldwell's been doing recently, and particularly this game, is it reminded me of like a fit and healthy Darcy Parish, but with a defensive edge to it. Because Darcy Parish was always, a little bit more of the footy, but not quite as much defensive work. But in terms of that just being at every single contest, getting involved, making a big impact on the game, that's what I see. And I remember when he came across, and we were whinging about midfield balance. Like, people would speak to me and they're like, him and Harris are like, they're too similar. That's the issue. So hopefully that doesn't change anything when he gets back into the side. But
he's a better kick than Parish. He just doesn't get the ball in kicking areas as much as what Parish does. So if you can learn that from Parish, because Parish positions himself so well in the midfield. That's one of the big reasons he gets so many touches. He's just always that outlet, and unfortunately, he's not always the one that you want kicking the ball as that outlet kick. But Caldwell's kicking is he just kicks absolute darts. Like, his kicking is getting close to being up there with like Merritt-esque kicking. Like, his creativity is his vision's probably not the same as Merritt, but his ability to hit a pass at like head height over 40 meters is one of the best in the team. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, He's a jet, and we absolutely love him to bits. I led with Semi Durham. Who wants to give us a good? Who wants to go? James?
I'll go. Lav, Jalen Verde, best game of his career.
Close to it.
I reckon.
I have a question mark next to it.
West Coast previous at Subiaco a few years ago. Is that what you think?
At Optus, and he played on Darling, and he absolutely rinsed. He played on like Darling when he could still move,
and he took like 8 fucking intercept marks on the wing in the 3rd and 4th quarter.
Yeah, he was huge. Huge. Yeah, obviously he likes playing him. But I was stoked for Lav, and in a game where Mackay and Ridley were really just tied up with good opposition, and Allen and Waterman, who obviously Allen's we already know Gunn, and Waterman's on track to possibly being an All-Australian forward this year. They were just so busy in their role, and Laverty was able to beat Darling. I think Darling still kicked 2 goals, but he was able to beat Darling, but also make the impact by getting across to help the others out, because they were the ones who were struggling. And if you think about what a really good team defence looks like, back end of the season, the pointy end. Those are those teams, because it can't always just be, the Ben Mackay show or the Ridley show. Like there's always going to be one mismatch where we get the win, and that's got to be the guy who's got to step up. And, obviously still a long way to go, but like you think about the Richmond defence in their good era, like if it wasn't Rance, if it was Grimes. If it wasn't Grimes, it was Vossen. If it wasn't Vossen, it was I forgot the other guy's name who played down there. But anyway, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Asprey, you know what I mean? So it was always someone who was able to step up to that. And yeah, Ridley and Mackay just were completely had their hands full, probably lost to their opponents, I'd say. And yeah, Lav stood up and said, "Hey, I'm the best Fortnite player there is on this ground," and like and subscribe, and then bang, fist in. That's how he did it. So,
and he did get some awesome fists in. Pretty reliable out of defense. His just willingness to get himself to the contest, like time and time again, and just grit and really work hard as a defender was outstanding. I think it's probably unfair to say that. Well, it's not unfair. It is the truth that Mackay and Ridley lost to their direct opponents, but I don't actually think it was their fault. I think there were a couple of instances. There was like 1 or 2 marks that were just insane that they marked it, but there were, particularly in the first half, and throughout the game, there was so many goals that I felt like that were just walked into West Coast goals, whether it be through umpiring decisions that just were in crucial moments that did not go our way, or really poor turnovers. Like, Ridley, that was very uncharacteristic, that handball that he gave off. He gave off 2 handballs that led directly to goals, which is very
unlike him.
And yes, you'd have to say that was his fault, obviously, but I just felt like our ability to defend transition was probably the worst I'd seen it for quite some time. And it's interesting because I'm not sure whether or not having those extra tools had an impact on just our ability to move ourselves around the ground. Not only did we poorly defend and lock the ball into our forward line, but we also were just not timing our runs with coming off our man and intercepting. And they got out over the back quite a number of times. It was very like scary sort of Ben Rutten football territory where we were at. But nonetheless, I mean, you can afford the guys to have a poor game. But it was interesting the take they had on first crack. They were saying, and can I also just say,
yes,
Ben Dixon.
I know where you're going.
Here we go.
Thank you very much for being on the choo-choo train, big boy. He's driving the train. It's a prelim town.
Oh my god,
I hate it.
So we're stopping.
That is the biggest moz that has ever been, the biggest moz that have ever mozzed. And as a big Hawthorn man, I know he does not believe that, and I know he's just sitting there going, hoo, 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 moz.
I've taken him through the recruitment process. I haven't let him be the conductor of the train, unless
tickets, please. He's the tickets, please guy.
Yeah,
tickets, please.
Tickets, please. And then I'm at the front shoving coal into the area with quarters.
Yeah, quarters and does.
This is a real tangent, but I want to take it there. Have you ever seen the movie Snowpiercer?
I have.
Have you seen the movie Snowpiercer?
No. Good flick.
So James, this is the pitch. This is the pitch for the Snowpiercer. It is the end of the world. All that exists is a train that is on a train tracks that is going around the earth forever. And on the train, the rich people live up the front and the poor people live up the back. And the movie's about the poor people essentially like having a bit of a revolution, and it's about them going from carriage to carriage to the front of the train.
And just murdering people.
And essentially just murdering everyone along their way. And then like Ed Harris is the bad guy and he's there at the end. And it is such a shit action movie, but it's awesome at the same time. And I don't know, for some reason, that is my vision, is you're Ed Harris at the front of this train. And I don't know.
Metaphorically, the
club is
the revolution metaphorically losses piling up until the train stops moving.
Yes, that's it.
Right,
yes,
right.
That's where I'm going with this. But you're Ed Harris for this analogy.
Well, prelim baby, you've heard it.
You've
heard it first.
Stop that.
You've heard it first.
Stop mozzing this. I don't. No, none of that. None of that. This is a place where we are optimistic, but we are cautiously optimistic. That is where we're at.
But what my point is, other than prelim town, is that they were saying, I guess to counteract the issues we've had over the past couple of weeks with not being as efficient inside forward 50, they played a lot of our forwards deeper and a lot of our half forwards quite a lot higher to give that space where there was only sort of one or two players in the forward 50 with entry, meaning that if your half forwards aren't coming and pressing in, it's easier for the ball to rebound back out. And I guess it's what is the trade-off? I mean, West Coast is effectively, other than Port Adelaide, the team to score the highest amount of points since
Sydney.
round 5 or Sydney. So it's one of those things where, our scoring was up.
But their scoring was up as well.
I think it's probably going to be one of those things where it becomes a bit situational for the coaches. And I guess that's good to see now that they can manipulate the team to play certain styles. But I guess what I'm trying to get as to understand what your take on was that, and whether or not you liked it or you preferred the older game plan.
Yeah, I think there was some moves made that obviously was forced by, a lot of it was down to the side that they picked really, and I think one that maybe we probably glossed over. Actually, was he ruled out on? No, he was right on Thursday. So I think we probably gave him gloss over in our preview, but I think just the absence of Gresham really changed the way that pieces sort of moved, because Nick Martin played a half forward midfield role, and we love Nick Martin, and he's an absolute weapon with the ball. We know that, but he's not a great pressure player, which is why one of the reasons you can play half back is because often you can be that wheeling half back who isn't just full pressure all the time. Gresham is awesome at that. We know that's one of his best things. And then the sort of pieces sort of move around there. Jones goes to wing. Jones is good. He's a good pressure player for what you'd expect from a key forward.
Yeah.
But from a winger, no. Caddy, Nate Dogg, great. We'll obviously get to him in a minute. He did some really good things, but not a pressure player as well. So I felt that we didn't have a very good forward line for just locking the ball in. Whereas in other games where, we might have still had two rucks or a tall team, we had a really good group of smalls, because it was really just Guelphy and whoever was sort of rotating through there as those real sort of pressure players. I don't have the numbers in front of me for tackles inside 50, but I'm fairly certain they had more than we did. It felt very different to how it's been in recent weeks where we've sort of held it. So there you go. Guelphy 4 tackles on 50, Cox 2, Martin, Merritt, Langford 1 each, and Caldwell 1. So, there isn't that other pressure player there. And I just against West Coast at Marvel, I think we can get away with that. But in these coming weeks, one on the G, because it's just a bigger space. You've got to have a more mobile forward line for me. You've got to have a bit more legit smalls to cover those bigger guys who, aren't doing as much running and chasing. And I think that's one of the reasons it changed so much. And yeah, because Gresham's obviously going to come straight back in next week. And then it'll be interesting to see how the team moves, because someone's getting admitted who has been, a solid part of this team for the last month or so. So anyway, that's what I think at least.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting match selection. I've said that quite a fair bit this year, but I think, we admittedly went in with a tall side. Our forward entries look good. I thought that was the best they've looked for a long time. Whether you put that down to the side we picked and the style we played, or whether you put that down to a relatively poor defence, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think we're probably midfielder short, in my opinion. And Jesse obviously spoke about Setterfield coming into the side. I think we're a midfielder short, and then Gresham is going to come back in. So it's probably one of Jones or Caddy, in my opinion. It's not to say either of them played poorly. I just think structure-wise on the G, we can't go in that tall.
Yeah. And I think the other issue with being a tall team is that we, at times, reverted to long, deep kicks, which is good because, I guess you could sort of say the coaches go, all right, we probably don't have the pressure player, so if we can get it deep more, it's easy for us to keep it in there, which then can still lead to Barras, McGovern, gobbling it up more, as opposed to when we lower our eyes more with the small team going, hey, if we turn it over at the 50 arc, we can probably still win it back, versus if we turn it over the goal square, we've obviously got a better chance of keeping it there. And it did at times remind me of, a bit of Rutt and Ball, because that was very much the game plan of let's just get as deep forward as we possibly can and then just try and back ourselves to keep it there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that does come down to the selection. So yeah, it's a fascinating one because someone's getting dropped, and they won't be happy about it. But that's the
Jones is gone.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I didn't.
He's out.
I didn't mind it, like the Jones on the wing thing. Like I made a comment that Richo 2008, the running man, like obviously long to do anything like that, but I was looking at it, remind me of that, but I just don't think you can have Jones and Cox. Like, it's one or the other. You can have one of those types of players, I think.
Or Cox gets dropped because he hurt his knee at the end, and again, like very little impact on the game.
Yeah. Low
disposals on the wing. Maybe he would benefit from running around the twos for a little while.
And then knowing his injury history might be due for being managed as well. So yeah, could potentially see that happen. A few more goods though. Obviously Nate Caddy, first goal. How good. How good. Very composed.
I was right there. That's where I was sitting.
Oh, nice.
That's exactly where I was.
Nice.
Great spot.
Yeah.
Huge kick.
Yeah.
On his opposite foot as well.
Is he a right footer?
He's right footer.
Yeah. And then obviously getting the other one there as well. I thought Matt Guelphy deserves a shout out as well. I thought Guelph played a really good game as the only real small forward. Good pressure game. Kicked some valuable goals.
Good to have Daddy Drapes back as well.
Yeah. Just chaos. He's absolute chaos. Like,
how good was that clearance? Like him steamrolling out, and he just bounces the ball and soccers it up to himself. You're like, oh, he's gonna mark his own ball.
Yeah,
I had flashbacks to the Gold Coast game there for a moment as he was charging out, but it didn't quite fall into place this time.
But you just don't get that from Goldie, and that energy was really good to see. I do think, I guess, sort of just moving to. Do you have any more goods? Because I've got a bad that I want to talk about.
I've got like it's more of just a question, I guess. But yeah, no, I did think Guelphy was good, so yeah, just wanted to check that in. So I did. Oh, sorry. Can we talk about Jake Stringer quickly?
Can we
talk about Paco? Can we talk about Paco?
God, he was good.
Yeah, that's vintage Paco right there. 20 and 5 clearances on top of that as well.
That is vintage Paco.
That is contract year Stringer.
Yeah.
Remember that last contract year, how post-buy he was the number 1 rated player in the comp?
Mm-hmm.
Bring it on, baby.
Let's do it again.
He was getting 27 and 5 though back then. So just give us an extra 7 to 10 touches, Jake.
I think he's the conductor of this train, to be honest. If anyone's driving the 5-0 train from here, it's Jake Stringer.
It's true.
It's true. Jesse and Jake up the front of the smokies.
Jeez, we're in trouble. If
that's
the case.
Yeah. But yeah, just awesome. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely tore the game apart. This is just something I found interesting. So this was from the press conference post, Brad Scott's comment, and I think it was Ron Connolly who asked him a question. It was just kind of about how, like, being tight in gains, but then just kind of getting the job done in the end. And so this is what Brad Scott said. Like, he said a couple of things, but he said, "We're not a team who want to hope and get on the end of fast breaks. And if we win the contest, we'll be out forward of the ball. We don't want to play that way." And then he sort of mumbled his words a little bit. And then he said, "It could look really different if we want to take some liberties when we've got contest dominance." And I think, like, I guess, like, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's just me reading between the lines a little bit, but I feel like that's him sort of saying that if we wanted to play a more open style, which could put sides away more, we could, but we're trying to play a bit more of a side that, a bit more of a style, that might give you these closer margins where, plenty of our supporters and, myself included times, obviously want us to put sides away, and then the wider football public are like, oh, they only just beat that team. They're not very good, but, this is kind of the brand, I guess he was saying. So, I don't know. That was just something he said in the press conference. A lot of times he says, he's like, oh, this guy's hurt, this guy's okay, he was good, he was bad, whatever. But he said that, and I was like, okay. Like, maybe that's him alluding to the fact that if we really wanted to open it up and just go all out attack, we could, but we choose not to. But anyway, that's me reading it wrong. I'm not sure. But anyway, thoughts?
Well, I mean, he's obviously a defensive-minded coach, right? And I think that plays perfectly into exactly, what we're seeing at the moment. And it makes a lot of sense, particularly as you saw with GWS, as you saw in the last sort of 5 minutes against West Coast, maybe not last 5 minutes, but last 2.5 minutes. We had possession the entire time, but we had no urgency to go forward whatsoever. We were really just icing the game. And you've seen us do that a few times against sides, and you can just see he's very much just about getting the 4 points.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit about percentage. He doesn't give a shit about winning by 10 goals. All he knows that matters is 4 points, and you can see that now. But that's what I take from what he's saying.
Okay.
That's how I interpret it as well. He's introducing a brand of football that's going to stand up in finals, and that's his ultimate goal for this club. You're not going to get into a final and try and freewheel and come out the front of the stoppage and run ahead of the ball when there's a 50-50. Yeah, you could probably get away with it on the weekend.
We tried that in a few finals. It didn't work. So.
yeah. I say you wouldn't do it. We have done it, and it didn't work. So Scott's trying to implement a game plan that's going to stand up in finals. So, you can go and have fun with it and beat up on a North Melbourne or a West Coast, but are you going to play that brand come September? No, you're not. So I think he's trying to instill that week in, week out, regardless of the opponent, regardless of where we're playing. And so I kind of like that. And I know that we all want that big smashing and that 10 plus goal win, but it's kind of nice hearing that he's acknowledging that and sort of saying, no, we're sticking to the game plan. We play the same way week in, week out, because I've got more confidence that that's going to stand up when it matters.
Okay. I've actually got it bad as well. I've got Andy McGrath in my bads. I know part of his role is it can be very high risk, press very high as a halfback, but there was just so many times where I felt that it was his man or someone he was near who was just in a paddock of space because he'd committed to get up. And look, that's probably the coaching direction. But then I also thought he was really bad by foot coming out of halfback. And without Martin playing back there, and I mean, look, at times some of the balls out of defence weren't great. But yeah, I just felt he just wasn't very good on the weekend. So
I mean, he's been down, I'd say, for the past month or so on his form. He had a stellar start to the season, so you hope that he's it wasn't just a purple patch at the beginning of the year, and it's just a bit of a blip, not a dip, as we
blip
like
or dip.
To say. And he'll be better for the run. He still did a couple really good things over the weekend, like that spoil that he did
was really
on the
good.
goal line.
Yeah, I'll give him that. That was really good.
Ridiculously good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have too many concerns with Andy. I think what you see is what you get with him, and I don't necessarily think we're ever going to see someone that goes at 90% by foot every game. He's just going to be that player that does, unfortunately, just have a brain fart and turn over the ball. As much as it's infuriating to watch at the best of times, but you look at last week, it was the same. He was just bombing it long into the forward line, and yeah, it's interesting to see whether it is something that it's ever will remove itself from his game, because it is, I would say at this point in time, his biggest flaw as a player is his disposal efficiency. Yeah,
I don't know if I was good at that, but yeah, I think it's just the role gets me at times, because it's real high risk, high reward stuff that we do, and we do it a lot of the halfbacks as well. But it just killed me watching Jamie Cripps or someone else just with so much space. And I'm like, what are we doing? Why aren't we just setting up a little bit more defensively at these points in the game? But anyway, that's just a little gripe that I've got. You guys got any more goods or bads?
No? Good or bad?
No, I didn't have many for this game. I mean, Heppel had a really poor sort of couple of efforts within sort of 30 seconds, I think it was. He had a really poor turnover, and then he went back with the flight like he always does, but then just either didn't read it right or potentially just missed the mark and just had a skill error. And that's sort of something that we haven't seen from him, which has been nice throughout the year. His composure and experience back there has been super helpful, but I thought he just lost his way in that little period, but maybe nitpicking a little bit because I didn't have a whole lot jumping out to me apart from what I spoke about in terms of Archie Perkins earlier. So maybe it's a positive overall.
The West Coast theme song. Can I put that in the Baz?
I've got a bad. That's a legitimate bad.
Okay.
Question.
Go.
So since we versed West Coast over there,
Mm-hmm.
we have only won clearance once.
Mm-hmm.
And who was that against?
Gold Coast? No.
Correct.
Oh, it was Gold Coast.
Yes.
There you go.
Good get.
Thank you.
Very
I do an
disappointing.
Essendon podcast, so I watch a lot of Essendon. Yeah.
Nice one.
Thank you. I'm here all week.
It's very evident that neither Goldstein or Draper are capable of being the solo ruckman, and I think the weekend was a really good indication and a reminder that Draper is shocking as a stoppage clearance ruckman.
Yeah, he's good
He's
at the centre.
Fantastic centre clearance ruckman, one of the best in the game, but he's not great at stoppage, and that's where Goldie really shines. And I think that 1-2 punch combination, we were the third best clearance differential team in the first since that West Coast game, really, and that's when it started falling off. And that's really, I think, was West Coast a week after Anzac Day? I think they could have been.
Yeah, possibly.
And that's when Draper went out. So I think now that we've managed Goldie, we have to bring both of them in. And I know that a lot of people would say, well, potentially Geelong's not going to play Reece Stanley. They're going to go with DeConning again. Whatever they roll with, we're a better midfield. And the runs on the board show that when Goldie and Draper played, we were a dominant stoppage and clearance team. And I truly do think that, as I said in the preview, if we can get our clearance game going again, every other piece of the puzzle is in place. And that's where you will start seeing us beat teams by 10 goals, is if we are winning clearance after clearance. We're so efficient when we do win centre clearance. We had a number of scoring shots and goals from our centre clearances. And I remember seeing it. It was the same against Collingwood and these teams when we were just winning clearance after clearance after clearance. And it just makes such a big difference in the game. And yeah, I just my bad is just losing clearance again, like pretty convincingly throughout the whole day.
Yeah, it's a funny one. Like, obviously, like as we've discussed at length, both of those ruckmen have their weaknesses. So, some stage Draper either has to go to the next level and be able to do that, or this is just it for him. And one day Goldie moves on, and then maybe it's Nick Bryan or someone else, and that's just what we have to deal with. I don't think we should forget that our best clearance player is not in the team, Darcy Parish. Like, for all the negatives about Darcy Parish, he's still the best clearance player in the team, and that's been proven for the last 2 years with all the footy he's missed. When he goes out, we often are down on clearance numbers, and that's just the case. I'm with you, though, and I think he might have said in his press conference, Brad, that Goldie will come back in. Very funny. Once again, I was sitting right in front of the coach's box, thanks to Ticketverse for our wonderful seats. And it was very funny watching the body language of Todd Goldstein versus the body language of Jordan Ridley when he sat in the box. Jordan Ridley looked like the most upset person I've ever seen, just injured, not happy to be there. Goldie was literally leaning back, hands behind his head, feet on the table, just talking shit with
taking up the entire length.
Yeah, literally just chatting shit with Dodoro, and I was like, he's having a great time. He's absolutely chill. So yeah, look, it's going to happen. Like, it's obviously great seeing Caddy out there. Obviously, I like seeing Jones play, but one or both of them are going to be shifted around to make way for Goldie or Draper. I think that's just what's going to have to happen. And yeah, because, we can't let Geelong, Collingwood, and probably even Melbourne just get that much looks going forward.
Yeah.
Like they've all got their own issues. But yeah, we just can't. Like, you got to get them on the back foot, and that's the best place to do it is, winning it at the front. So if Parish isn't going to be back for a long time, which we know is the case, I think that's a likely thing. And whether or not, a Setterfield comes back into the side or they change up the midfield mix. Like, I know we've seen Gresham with a bit of stoppage time. Like, Nick Martin actually spent a bit of time at centre bounce.
6 attendances.
Yeah, he was okay.
Not bad.
He was okay. But yeah, that's one thing. I mean, I mentioned though, mate, like, I'll just ask you guys this before we break. So Good news so far. I was really worried that Mason Redman was going to get suspended for that dangerous tackle. By the way, I was really worried it was going to happen. I mean, as we stand, nothing's come out, so I think he's okay because I think the guy's arm was free. But look, let's assume that both Gresham and Goldstein are playing. What's the team looking like? Who's coming out? I assume Caddy's coming out just because he's the young fella. And then what else? Thoughts?
Cox.
You
I'd
Cox
say
and Caddy.
Cox and Jones.
And you leave Caddy in.
I'd prefer that to be the case, but I think it would be Cox and Caddy.
Okay.
That make
Interesting.
way.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I've got Jones/Caddy coming out. I'd probably lean towards Caddy coming out, just knowing Brad Scott. Goldstein in, and then Gresham in, and then Menzies dropped, and then someone from the team to play the sub role, and Gresham to come into the starting side.
Okay.
Don't know who that is at this stage.
You don't Menzies sub 2 weeks in a row?
No, I don't think so. I didn't think he had much of an impact coming on, and I feel like they're almost trying to find a role for Menz at the moment. And I just feel like Gresham can come in and play a consistent role.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Also playing Geelong, who, traditionally sort of older, harder bodies.
Yep.
I feel like a Ben Hobbs or a Jade Gresham, a little bit more experience, probably help in a game like that.
Yeah, no, we all know that Gresh will be back in, and why don't we play Jake Kelly in the guts? He can play anywhere. Anyway,
don't give him the idea.
Get him on a wing. Yeah, we've seen how that's panned out. Let's take a little break, everyone. Let's come back and listen to some hot takes after this. Welcome back. Part 2 of the show. It is, of course, time for some hot takes. Big old language warning for everyone, and apologies if you don't get played. Can't play them all, and some will never get played at all. But let's get stuck into it. First one is from Figured It Out.
G'day, boys. I'm just walking my dogs in the park after that 5-goal win, and I think I figured it out. Step 1, we delist Dylan Shiel, and we get Luke Davies-Uniacke through the free agency. They both wear number 9. Luke is a jet. He'll smooth out the jet factor of our best 22 nicely. That's step 1. Step 2, we need a small forward, I reckon. We have 3 father-sons living it up in the VFL, not really getting anywhere. But sorry, but maybe one day, but not right now, not in our window. Maybe when they're 30, whatever. And then we've got Jai Menzies, going okay, but he's probably going to become a back flank. That's where he showed his best form. So what we do is we go to Shai Bolton's house and we paint the colour of his sash a different colour, red. And then he goes to training. They're like, "You don't play for Richmond, you play for Essendon." And we'll be like, "Yeah, actually, did you not get told you do play for Essendon now? So you're going to have to come here and we'll pay you $1 million. We don't care. We've got a lot of money. I've already paid Ben this year." So we do that. And then I reckon 100% I can see a flag happening in Zach Merritt's lifetime, but we need to be aggressive. We need to be bold. What do you think, boys? Go Bombers. Go Plains.
Do you think he means his lifetime as a player, or just until Zach Merritt dies? Yeah. So what, like the next 75 years or something?
I back it.
LDU. Geez,
I back LDU. We need him.
Could you imagine North Melbourne fans if LDU came to Essendon? My God,
he's coming. We have to throw the absolute kitchen fucking sink at him.
Is he on the train?
I'm trying to negotiate terms.
Okay.
I am. I'm trying. But I'm in all seriousness, we have to get either Stengel or LDU. They are huge free agents. I'd be looking at bringing them both in.
Do you care that Stengel for mine looks like an out and out mercenary and just wants the cash and doesn't care where he goes?
I think they've come out and said that.
Yeah. He's just
price offer.
Yeah, he's just a pure mercenary. Does that put you off at all, or are you just happy to take the cash? Because I feel like with those guys who are just mercenaries, that there isn't that want and desire, that they're happy with the cash and then they might not live up to it. If you know what I mean, that's my worry.
Don't care.
I
don't care. He's a jet.
Yeah.
He's better than all of our small forwards combined if you fuse them all together.
Kingo was sitting next to me during the game, and there was a passage Essendon wasn't doing well, and he goes, "Gee, couldn't you just imagine Tyson Stengel not getting a touch right now for Essendon?" So, yeah. Anyway, Shai Bolton though, yeah, I don't know, I'd be men, but I don't think that's possible.
Yeah,
so, next one's from Big Bonnie. Thanks, Big Bonnie. As my computer loads again. There we go.
We cannot continue playing Jake Kelly. He had 15 possessions, 11 of those uncontested marks where he busts his gut to give a 20-metre option to the lateral of the guy who has it. To either go back on his mark and kick it straight back to the same guy or go long down the line. Enough is enough with that guy. Like, I understand he works hard and he's probably worked harder than anyone at the club, but he's just not up to it. He's no good at footy. I also do not have a lisp. I don't know why this app makes me sound like I have a lisp. Big 3 weeks ahead. If we can get 2 or 3 of these, we'll put ourselves in good stead. Geelong and the D's are as gettable as they ever have been. Up the plains.
Thoughts?
I thought you just put on a lisp and called up and and doubled down. Yeah, he's nailed it. We've said it every week. Kelly can play one role and one role only, and we don't play him in that role. For whatever reason. So completely agree.
Yeah, he did play in the back line this week, but yeah, I think apart from Laverty, a lot of the back line had their colours lowered this week. So anyway, I've spoken at length about that. Let's keep going. This one's from GC from the B. These are always good. We like these ones.
Solid, not spectacular. That's the game today. Miraculously sitting third, but yet to put a team away. Paco kicked the bag. He was one to fly. The old skipper snags a goal. Almost brings a tear to the eye. Shiny started well. I'm talking sweet Nicky Hind. Durham, man crush big time. A brilliant Dodoro find. Welcome back Drapes and the fella with arrow and bow. A few more scalps needed. Then it's time to let the footy world know. But for now, lid's still on tight. More wins to final 8. Let's see what the month brings. What will be the Bombers' fate?
Ooh.
Not bad. Good win.
Ooh.
Go Plains.
That was beautiful.
Nice.
That was real good. Real good. Yeah.
A lot of artists that listen to this show.
Hey,
Poets.
this amateur poetry is big on this show. We're all about it.
Poetry and songs.
I'm
encouraging them big time.
I wouldn't mind like a bit of slam poetry just thrown in there. Essendon, my favorite Essendon.
Yeah.
Break my heart, make me happy.
Maybe you should host a Essendon slam poetry night, Jesse.
Jeez, fucking whiz. Probably not.
Yes. Okay. Next one is Braden from South Australia. Thank you, Braden.
Yep. Game was good. Some players did good. We won, and that's good. But what I've come to here to say is microwaving your McDonald's, absolutely fucking top tier stuff.
Yes.
Thank you for the tip.
Fuck yeah. Yes. I forgot about that.
There you go. There you go.
I microwaved a cheeseburger over the weekend. You have to be careful when you're using other people's microwaves because you don't know the voltage. So just be careful. Maybe on someone else's microwave, don't go the 30. Just go the 20 to start with because my cheeseburger...
Bit soft.
The roof nearly came off it with steam.
The pickles exploded.
There was no cheese left. It all melted out. So it was a hamburger.
Yeah, I don't think there's any cheese in the McDonald's cheese anyway. Next one is from Benny. Thank you, Benny. Here we go.
Mate, Sammy Durham. Oh my God. Oh my God. Biggest steal in the AFL was getting him from the VFL side in Richmond. All my days. Anyways, not a bad game. I expected a win, so I wasn't actually too happy when I was walking home from Marvel Stadium, but you know what? A win is a win. A win is a win. Love the bow and arrow from Xavier Dersma. Mwah. Best celebration in the league. And special mention to the hippo himself, Mr. Jakey Stringer. Not bad. I was really proud of the boys' set shots today. Huge improvement from the past, I guess, 2-3 weeks. Not too sure how we're going to go against the Cats next week, but fingers crossed. I think Tommy Hawkins is out with injury and Paddy Dangerfield is suspended. Come on, boys. Let's Top four. Come on.
Top 4 would be nice. Like, obviously it's good when players miss because it makes things easier, but
You want to beat him at full strength.
I'd love to just beat them with a full strength
Yeah.
side. Because
But I'll also take 4 points.
Yeah, 100%. Of course I would. Of course I would. But yeah, I'd actually like to beat them.
Does Dangerfield miss? Does he get off?
Danger gets off.
He gets off, doesn't he?
Well, it's Dangerfield.
It's Danger.
It's Dangerfield.
Head of the AFL players.
I can't be having that, can we? Yeah, if he played for Essendon, he'd be out for a month. So we know that much.
Redmond's gone.
No, he'll be fine. No,
No, he's gone.
No, he'll be fine. He will be fine. Don't.
No, shouldn't even hit his head on the ground. He'll be gone.
Yeah. We won't challenge it if he did. Anyway, next one is from No Harley Reid, ? No worries.
How good are we? Oh my god. We couldn't beat Carlton, I don't care. We couldn't beat Gold Coast, I don't care. But we could defeat a Harley Reidless side. How good is that, lads? A round of applause to the gentlemen. Well done, well done. That was brilliant. Jakey Stringer, what an absolute gun. Oh my gosh. Oh, that guy is just so good. And Sam Durham, I've heard he got 10 goals according to the AFL, but apparently not. But still, brilliant game from Sam Durham. Proud of him. And Xavier Dersma, he's returned back from the side, from the injury, whatever it is. He was quite in the first quarter, but was played really well besides that. And, oh, wow. Winning is back somehow. How long can this go on for? Hopefully the rest of the season, but I don't think that will happen. It's a bit unrealistic. But
weeks.
Hey, go the Plains! Yippee! Well, that was a voice crack, by the way. Oh, my bad. Goodbye.
Yip yee.
Yip yee. We love a little yip yee.
All right, give me Rory. Where is he?
Rory's coming. We're not.
I want Rory now.
Rory's coming. Actually, before we get to this next one, he hasn't sent one in, but we do know our good friend Garrett in Canada. We love Garrett in Canada. Now, last week, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Garrett sent one in speaking about how Essendon were inaccurate, but so was his ice hockey team, the Edmonton Oilers, in the Stanley Cup Finals. Context. I follow zero ice hockey outside of the Mighty Ducks. I don't know shit. I was like, how are they going? And they were down like 3-1. It's a best of 7. I'm like, they're no chance. Tomorrow morning is game 7. It's 3-3. They've come back. I have no interest in ice hockey, but I'm going to put it on at work cheering for Garrett.
Huge.
I'm all about it, and I encourage everyone who
How
has
do we
KO.
watch?
I think it's on ESPN. So you've got KO Fox. You can watch it.
Elite.
I encourage you all. Get around the Edmonton Oilers on behalf of Garrett.
Huge.
So
Done.
That's my shout out. Let's
the boys.
Let's keep going. Up the boys. This one is Durham season. This will be good.
G'day, boys. Another win. Regardless of the margin, we keep those 4 points coming. We will have no problems making the top 4 if we just keep those 4 points coming. But bloody hell, Jai fucking Caldwell and Sam fucking Durham. Oh my lord. 2 words for those magnificent men. Huck to.
If you don't get that reference, well,
Just jump on Facebook for like 2 minutes.
yeah. Oh, fuck. I lost it today. I heard that for the first time. Absolutely lost it. Yeah. Huckter indeed. Next one is Stop Yelling at Me, Devon.
So I'm here with
Been a
some absolutely nonsensical contributions to the pod because the rest of the pod is such high quality. I thought I might deviate from the norm a bit. Jai Caldwell, he's played a fantastic game. Look, I'm sure you guys have spoken about him at length on the pod, but has anyone noticed how red he gets when he's playing? Like, he kicked that goal in the last quarter, and yeah, he was hyped up when he kicked it, but you cut back to him, and he looks like a half-exploded Frankfurter. He is red as red can be, the same color of the sash. And also, someone's got to say this. Has anyone ever seen Oscar Allen and Kiefer Sutherland in the same room?
I don't know. Have they?
Not sure, but I do have to say,
He does go red.
stop yelling at me, Devon. Froth that.
Yeah.
It's been a very long time since we've had to stop yelling at me, Devon.
Yeah.
Call in.
Stop yelling at me, Devon.
Not only is he red, but he's very oiled up.
Yeah.
I've realised
Yeah.
recently. Old
Yeah.
Jazzy.
Yeah.
He's still hot.
He's still very hot.
Physically hot and metaphorically.
Yeah. We love him to bits. Love him to bits. A few more to go. Where do we want to go? We'll go to Rory. We'll go to Rory next. You do love Rory.
So I usually come on this and talk shite in my monotonous Scottish voice for the full 90 seconds about the game, but fuck it. I just enjoyed that today, and most of all, I just fucking love watching Sam Durham. He's just heart and soul player, and just the way he just explodes out of contact, put his head in anywhere or win the ball, and just 110% effort every single time. He's just fantastic. I fucking love watching him. He's amazing. Great win. Great weekend. Bring on the next one.
Here.
What was he eating? I feel like he was either thinking about what he was saying or maybe eating a bit of haggis on the side.
A bacon batty, probably.
Batty.
Bacon batty. God. What do they have? The deep fried Mars bars? God. Have
you had one?
I had a deep fried Mars bar in Edinburgh at, I don't know what time of the morning it was. I was already
Fish and
drunk.
chip store job?
Yeah. I have never felt worse in my life. And I've eaten some heinous things around this planet.
Is it battered?
Yeah. It's a battered slice of pizza. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea.
Pizza? I thought you said Mars bar.
Oh, so, no, they do deep fried Mars bar, but you also do deep fried pizza. I had both, and they were horrific. The Mars bar was kind of okay.
Yeah, surely that'd be alright.
But the deep fried pizza, I was like, why did I just ruin a slice of pizza? Like, what was the point of that?
It's already so doughy already, just to add some more carbs onto it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
You deserved your fate.
Oh, it was a shocking decision by me. I was young, I was naive, had the world at my feet, but I made that decision as a 19-year-old in Scotland. Beck from Oz, thank you, Beck. This will be a good one, I reckon.
Hey boys, I have an ode to the red and black. I pulled my own hammy on a run last Thursday in the morn, and I've been stuck on the couch ever since, feeling, well, relatively forlorn. Thank goodness for aircon and a muggy summer's restless dream to force me up from the bed and press play to watch our dearest Windy Hill team. We have 3 Nicks, 2 Sams, 2 Jakes, and yes, a couple of Jais. And traditionally, we've slumped coming off of the byes. And
Nice.
okay, we didn't play all that bad today. Indeed, it was the Westies that lifted and really came out to play. But I got to watch the game live, my beloved Bombers flying high. By the end of the match, there was a happy tear in my eye. We had 11 different goal kickers with teamwork at its peak, something I can only hope we continue against Geelong next week. Laverde's marks were spot on. I couldn't really fault his poise and grace, and Calder's didn't once stop, even with blood streaming down his face. Nate kicked his first goal, and the Bomber army stood and rose high. I was reminded yet again that I bleed red and black, and why. But it was Duzza who won it for me in his class and big smile, and the package kicked a bag, which, of course, we haven't seen in a while. But my favourite moment of all was when Heps kicked a goal. Sure, he's one of our oldest, but he is such a good soul. It was that final moment, Zach and Dyson each wearing a grin, when I knew it was worth getting up at midnight to watch
The
my
win.
boys win.
Yeah.
Up the plains.
Good work, Beck.
That was great.
That was so good.
That was really good.
Really good. You clearly had a lot of time on the couch, didn't you? I can tell you were sick.
Yeah.
But that was awesome.
That hammy, yeah.
You can come to Slam Poetry, Beck.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to organise it.
Yeah, you could definitely be there.
Sold me.
You could definitely be there. Yeah, no, that was classic. Yeah, I'm big on the poetry from everyone. I like the way that Beck was speaking then, it was a very calming voice, and I was thinking about how every night I read to my son before I put him to bed, and someone gave us this book that's just all the classic, Hickory Dickory Dock, all those
Nice.
little
Terrifying
ring around
stories.
ring around Rosie, all those little things you read to kids.
Awful.
Yeah.
Backseated, weird, terribly
I can't think-
strange books
Yeah.
that have terrible deep-seated meanings to them.
Yeah. But anyway, one of them, and I was just listening to that there, and I'm like, I should just be reading Don's poetry to my kid every night. That's what I should be doing.
You should just play Beck's her hot take.
Yeah,
that'll put him to sleep.
Yeah, I'll just put him down and put my phone next to him and walk out of the room. Like, job done.
Seriously,
Here we go.
serious voice of an angel though. Like
Parenting 101.
genuinely could you should look into doing audiobooks, Beck.
Audiobooks.
Got a great voice.
Well, there's someone else who could also do an audiobook that's coming up soon, I reckon. We've got 2 to go. We've got 2 to go. 2 to go. There's a couple that I probably don't have time to play, but let's wrap up with a couple of old reliables. We've got the dish. We love the dish. This will be good.
Oh, not the dish. Not the dish.
Oh, no. Yeah, here it comes. As soon as my computer decides to load.
You can really put a name for yourself on this show.
Oh, Durham, baby. And if it's quite alright, oh, Durham, baby. You want my lonely nights, oh, Durham, baby. Trust in me when I say... Oh, pretty Durham, and if you play that way, oh, pretty Durham, I hope you're here to stay. Oh, let me love you, Durham, let me love you. Oh, my God. We got over the line against West Coast. Take the win, move on. Got to be happy with that. One thing I want to say to all the AFL supporters on social media saying that Essendon are pretenders and haven't beaten anyone worth a pinch of shit. Guess what, guys? I hope you got your tomato sauce and your mustard ready because you're going to be eating this up the dons.
I'm crying. I'm fucking crying. It's like, it reminds me of those like wind up toys, the Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
It's just slowly winding
Yeah.
to this fucked crescendo.
You know it's coming every time.
I forget every time he has a song as well at the start.
That's how he lures you in.
I love that he said, guess what? And I'm thinking,
You know what? I reckon I know. I reckon I know.
I'm as red as Calder's.
Yeah, same. Seriously. Fuck, that's amazing.
Brilliant.
Well, boys, there's only one way to wrap this show up.
Is he back?
There's only one way to put a ribbon on this whole thing.
He's back.
Now, some say he is the admin of the AFL social accounts who wrote The Planes Are Flying, which was mint, by the way.
That was hectic.
That made my weekend.
So good.
That made my weekend. Some say he lives in the car park underneath Marvel Stadium. All I know is we call him Lurker.
Paco performs, Caddy creative, Caldwell courageous, Laverty legit, Merritt masterful, Durham dominates, a win is a win, let's gazump Geelong, crush Collingwood and maul Melbourne, up, mighty plains.
There we go.
More like chew, the mighty plains.
Get on Jesse's train. Why
Get
not
on it,
indeed?
Lurker.
Gazump is a word that is not in my day-to-day lexicon, I would say.
Now that I think about it, if we're talking train movies, there's one where there's like murder mystery and they're all on the train in first class. Have you seen that one? Johnny Depp.
Orient Express.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's an old like classic story.
That's what I'm thinking, but we've got all the typical hot takes people there. So we've got Rory, we've got Beck, we've got Lurker, we've got
the dish.
Don't sit behind the dish. Sit in front of the dish.
They're all in there. They're all in there. It's a murder mystery.
What about
someone killed Woosha?
Okay, no. I got a better one. If we're going to talk train movies, it'll be Under Siege 2 with Steven Seagal, where he's a ticket inspector who also has kick-ass knife skills. That is the pinnacle of train movies.
All right.
Yep. Anything with Steven Seagal.
Easy.
That's it. I'll play Steven Seagal.
Okay. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, I'll be Steven Seagal, so I'll be the tickets.
I could never
guy.
live up to the role, so I'm glad that you took that responsibility.
I've been doing judo for 60 years. I could totally be Steven Seagal. Anyway, boys, great show. Great to have you all with us. My God, that was a laugh. Listeners, viewers, if you want to listen to the premium show Thursday night, find the links on social and in the episode description. You can sign up for $5 a month. You get an extra show every single week. You get a bit of bonus content as well, which is a bit of fun. You also support the show and you help us keep doing this and keep us in this lovely studio, which is fantastic. What else have I got? I think that's all, to be honest.
Buy 2, get 1 free. Get down a Grilled.
Yeah,
if
I know.
you haven't got the app.
We're not sponsored by Grill.
But we really should be.
I know.
Given how much we're winning. And we've got 5 more wins in a row coming up. 4. So,
Have you added another one?
Do you know?
I mean, I did look. And then we got St Kilda and the Crows. So,
on my,
and Freo.
We
could just win every game.
On my birthday, because it was on a Monday, we obviously won that week. And if it's your birthday, you get free chips. So for lunch, me and the missus went down to Grilled.
You really treated it.
It was my birthday. It's my birthday.
Yeah.
And we had 2 burgers and a chips for the price of 1 burger.
That's pretty good.
That was a good.
Did you give her any of it?
The
or
chips?
did you just eat it in front of her saying it's my birthday?
It's my birthday. I eat both. Yeah, no. She did have one.
1 chip.
1 chip. Yeah, 1 chip. James, final thoughts.
I'm on the train. I'm on the Jesse train. We're one down, 4 to go. Woo! Yeah, I'm on the train. Jump on.
Yeah, we have 5-0 and then still lose a final. Yeah, that'll be good.
I'm just picturing Rob when we get to that station. He's running behind like, go on, let me on.
Yeah.
Let me on. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or we are going to crash and fall off the cliff and Rob's going to say, that's why I didn't get on the train.
Yep.
Idiots.
Yep.
Either way. Someone's going to be upset.
Either way, someone upset. Hopefully it's not the Bombers faithful out there. Thanks for joining us. Great show. Love you all. See you Thursday. Bye.